Welcome to Forbes Talks. Join me now is Mark Penn, Chairman and CEO of Stagwell Inc. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great. First, I want your take as a legendary pollster on the 2023 Edelman Trust Barometer. It says, in short, that globally, people believe business is, quote, the only institution seen as competent and ethical. What's your take?
Well, I think the pandemic was actually very good for business. For many years, the Edelman Trust Barometer had been showing that corporations were in the dumps. And frankly, I didn't particularly buy that finding. And I thought that actually it was misleading. And I think that the pandemic proved that it was misleading. Because I think as soon as the pandemic hit, people turned to Amazon, they turned to Federal Express, they turned to the grocery stores, they turned to the CVSs. It really wasn't the government that helped them out in times of critical need, as it was fundamentally a lot of the retail and delivery economy and some of the tech companies, Zoom and Microsoft and others, that really created an ability for people to continue to function and to communicate and continue their employment in many cases. And so I think that people always did trust companies more than the trust barometer showed. And the pandemic showed that. And now I think what it's showing is in line with what I think, which is governments are looked at more skeptically, and companies actually did deliver when people needed it.
How did corporations do this, especially pivot so fast in the pandemic where people were able to trust them like this?
Well, look, part of the system, the part of the capitalist system, to be honest, or the free enterprise system that we have in America is that private enterprise's ability to innovate, to infuse their companies with tech layers, in order to operate more efficiently, outstrips the government. I mean, try calling the Social Security Administration. See how long it takes you either get a person or get an appointment. Many years ago, when I worked with President Clinton, we put in REGO to reorganize government, but it's gone nowhere. Check now whether even government employees are coming into work. And a recent study showed that many of them are both not at work and not logging into their computers. But when you couldn't really get government on the line, private enterprise was there. It was well organized. It was efficient. It overcame, obstacles in a heroic way. Now the government pumped a lot of money, and I think a lot of people were thankful for the money. I think the PPP program was particularly innovative, to keep hard-hit businesses run. But at the end of the day, when you needed something done, it really proved the value of the free enterprise system. And government just looked bloated, inefficient, chaotic, unable to really, come up with the right solutions for what needed to be done.
In short, did businesses step up or did government drop the ball?
Oh, I think it was definitely some of each. I mean, I think people really felt a new affinity for the grocery stores and the food delivery system. They felt new affinity for Amazon. My family lived off Instacart, and without any of this, it would have been a breakdown. And the internet, functioned, 100%, and people learned. I had been doing, Skype for Business and Zoom type communications for a very long time, but I think that kind of graduated us to something that's in everyday life as people realize how valuable it could be, and government. Let's face it. If you were looking for government to be really studied, scientific, efficient, what I think really happened in the pandemic is that both administrations, the Trump administration and the Biden administration, did something that I would never have recommended, which is they made the pandemic a partisan exercise. Trump had only his people and Republicans running it, and Biden had only his people and Democrats running it. And so they tried to get political advantage when logically Democrats and Republicans should have come together. Probably the military should have played a bigger role. Probably a daily scientific study of 5,000 to 10,000 people to really have supplied good information and data about what was happening. I don't think we had good data. We didn't have really good, efficient policy making. And we certainly didn't have a kind of a national unity push that people look for from the government in times like that.